Welcome into episode 4 of the TNS Energy Podcast. Today's very important episode. We are going to be discussing how PSEG and Con Edison charges you for your energy and the best way to avoid their future rate hikes. So how does PSEG and Con Edison charge you for your electric? So it is pretty simple. So pay attention to this because it does get a little in-depth with the numbers, but the math behind it makes a lot of sense. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at that graph on the first page of your bill. It's like that orangey red graph. If it's Con Ed, it's just blue lines going up for each month. And there's going to be a number on top of each one of those bars. So that number is your daily kilowatt hour usage. So let's say in June, you used 40 kilowatt hours per day on average. To figure out what your usage is, you just take that number, 40 daily kilowatt hours, times it by the amount of days in that month. So for June, it's 30 days. And you figure out what you're using in that month. So in this example, this homeowner would have had 40 kilowatt hours per day in June times 30 days. That gives you 1,200 kilowatt hours for the month of June. So how do we figure out your rate from those 1,200 kilowatt hours? So that is also another simple process. So what you have to do is you take that bill and you just flip it to the back. It's going to show you what they charged you. It's even going to show you the breakdown of what they charged you, how much you paid for delivery, how much you paid for the actual power, how much you paid in taxes and fees. But they're going to have a total number of what you paid for those 1,200 kilowatt hours. So let's say for those 1,200 kilowatt hours, you paid $300 and you want to figure out the rate that PSEG or Con Edison is charging you. The simple formula is just take what you paid, divide it by the amount of kilowatt hours you use, and you're going to get a rate. This rate is what PSEG is charging you. So when they say there's a rate hike, this is what they're raising, this cents per kilowatt hour. So in this example, if the homeowner paid $300 for 1,200 kilowatt hours that they used, they were charged about 25 cents per each one of those kilowatt hours. So when PSEG says, hey, we're going to have an 11.6% rate hike, they're raising that cent per kilowatt hour by 11.6%. So if you have a bill where maybe you're using 2,000, 3,000 kilowatt hours in a month, those rate hikes are going to lead to extreme increases in what you're paying on a month-to-month basis. So look, we understand that everything's getting more expensive. You go to the gas station, you go to the grocery store, if you're looking to buy a home, a car, whatever it is, everything is increasing in price, and that includes your electric bill. So how do we avoid these rate hikes that are coming now and in the future from PSEG and Con Edison? Well, that's where solar comes into play. The big thing with solar, though, is you got to do it right. So you have to make sure you have the program that fits your family and your home and your usage best. So I want to talk about something that solar companies absolutely love hiding from homeowners, and it is something called the dealer fee. So if you were to go solar, there's 3 main ways if you're not looking to make a cash outlay. There's the lease. There's traditional financing, one of those 25-year financing programs through a solar lender. And then you have, if you can qualify, New York State financing. I want to hammer down on something specific to the traditional financing, these 25-year programs from these different solar lenders. So it's a concept called a dealer fee. And what a lot of these, not all, but a lot of these traditional financing programs have is something called that dealer fee. So essentially what it is, it's upfront interest that the bank is charging you to use their financing. So let's say you had a cash cost of $50,000. A lot of times when you go into these 25-year 1.99% rates, 2.99, one of these insanely low interest rates, a lot of times there is one of these dealer fees baked in. So again, if you have a $50,000 gross cost and you have a 40% dealer fee, that 40%, what the bank is doing is they're just adding 40% to your gross cost. So now, just for using their financing, your gross cost is shot up from $50,000 to $70,000. And then the rep that is in your house is telling you that you have a 1.99% interest rate when it is just absolutely not true. You're paying 10, 15, even 20% interest because this dealer fee, they're hitting you right upon sign up on that gross cost. So what is the number one question to ask these solar reps when they're in your home or on a Zoom call or whatever it is? What is the gross cost of my system? You have to ask that question. If you have a state program, there's not going to be any fees. And if you have a state program, you're probably dealing with a pretty good installer. But if it is one of these 25-year traditional financing programs, you have to know what the gross cost is. We just sat with someone a few days ago in Queens. He was about to sign up with a company that had a $94,000 gross cost for 15 panels. That can't happen. Reps should know that 15 panels does not cost damn near $100,000. So you have to look out for these programs. It will eat into your savings a ton. It'll be a massive loan riding your credit. You have to watch out for these 25-year extremely low interest programs, because in reality, they are charging you tens of thousands of dollars more than what you should be paying. So like we said at the top of this video, PSEG and Con Edison's rates are elevated, especially Con Edison, and both electric providers' rates are going up. Even with those crazy traditional financing programs, it is still more optimal than sticking with these electric providers, because the monthly payment will still be lower and it is still locked in. You don't got to worry about it going up. You will save. But if you want to get the most bang for your buck, there's two things you got to watch out for: the quality of the product and the program. So the best program, and I've spoken about it a ton, if you watch our videos, I am constantly pushing this program. It is the 15-year New York State program. It's a 3.49% rate, a 0% dealer fee, and that's where you can start seeing those savings, where you're going to save, 40, 50, even 60% off your current electric bill. It's locked in. It's not 25 years. It's 15 years. So it's 10 less years. After the 15 years, there's no payment. And that payment from year 1 to 15 is locked in. So as Con Edison and PSEG's rates continue to increase, you're always locked in at that fixed cost with the New York State program. And that gap between your locked in payment and whatever PSEG's rates are at the time keeps increasing. So if you want to avoid these rate hikes, you should use solar, absolutely, but you have to make sure that you have the right program so you can get the most amount of savings and the most bang for your buck with these panels. All right, so that'll do it for this episode. If you're looking for a consultation to see if you can qualify for the New York State program, phone number, website, reach out. We'll see if you can qualify. If you can, you might be able to save yourselves a boatload of money. And yeah, that'll do it. We'll see you next week.